Lauren Foley. Learn from my mistake. It's a bit aha moment. Everyday sexism. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I thought I would make a video all about me so that you can get to know me a bit better, and when you're perusing through all my videos on my channel, you have a bit of background about who I am and why I do what I do. So to introduce myself, my name is Lauren Foley. I am 27 years old currently. I'm originally from Ireland, currently living in Belgium, and I'm going to talk through kind of a mix of things, some kind of very personal and then some to do with this channel and my life and my interests and kind of why I'm here talking to you basically on the screen right now. So let's get properly into it. So very randomly, some of my favorite things just to get you up to speed. Favorite color is yellow, although green was contender for a while, but yellow really is the OG and it will be for a while. Favorite animal is a kitty. I love cats. Anyone who knows me knows I love cats. Love cats. Favorite meal is spaghetti carbonara. Just nothing comes close. Just perfection. And then my favorite show, I mean I have a lot of favorite shows, but Grey's Anatomy is probably up there. It is the OG. I will be a fan until it's dying day, which, I mean, who knows when's that gonna happen. But that probably is my OG, but there are several others, but Grey's Anatomy is kind of, you know, it's the one I will rep to the very end. So then a bit about my background, I guess. I guess starting with education. So my bachelor's degree is in law from University College Cork in Ireland. Then I was like, okay, let's go do a master's in law and economics in the Netherlands, even though I had no interest. I had never done economics in my life, and I still don't have a clue about economics. This was despite wanting to do gender studies and basically letting my head and other people with influence over me tell me that I should be sensible and smart and go do law and economics, and I could do my gender stuff on the side. So that's why I went and did that against my better judgment. Maybe learn from my mistake and don't do that. And this was before I decided that corporate law was not for me, but we'll get onto that later in the video. And so I guess then it's kind of the question of how did I get interested in feminism? Like, why am I here talking to you? Like, how did this become my, oh my god, biggest interest in life? So I think for me, it definitely started with just the household that I was raised in. Like, you know, I always give the example of, you know, I was raised in a household where my mom worked full time, as well as my dad, but you know, my mom, like, and even I feel for me and my generation, that wasn't the norm, which is kind of insane, but yeah. And I also give the example that I grew up in a household where my dad was the one who cooked, which again was unusual and still is, I guess. But yeah, so I kind of always give those examples of maybe what started my awareness of this world. And I think growing up, like, I don't really love the term tomboy. It's a bit, but I guess in ways I would have been a little bit of a tomboy growing up, which again, I think is just an interesting thing to note about me. Not that feminists all were tomboys growing up, but I think just from an early age, I was aware of kind of the double standards or the kind of gender roles and gender norms, and I maybe wasn't really about that girly girl life that I maybe felt like I had to be sometimes, you know. Not something wrong with that, but I maybe was kind of like, oh, that doesn't really feel like me, and why is that a bad thing kind of vibe. So I was kind of all about that life from a young age, I think. And then what really kind of set me off was at university, I joined the Feminist Society. And I think even to this day, the people that I was on that society with don't know how formative that was for me. It was like I had an interest in feminism, but that solidified it for me. It was like, okay, I am so interested in this. This isn't an embarrassing thing to be involved in, because here I am on this society with so many other people who are involved in this. I learned so much from them, and it really just grew really quickly from there, I think. And you know, people always talk about like, oh, was there one moment they had where they were like, oh my god, yeah, this is what I meant to do with my life. For me, I never had like one aha moment, but I think it was just kind of a steady build up, and then, you know, when the time was right, it all just kind of clicked into place, and like very quickly I became obsessed, and I think that's just what was meant to happen. And then what I think is really interesting, which is basically the reason why I'm here talking to you today, was in October 2016, I applied for this kind of social entrepreneurs summit kind of thing. It was so random. It was called Impact Aimers. I'll link below the video of the kind of 3-day summit that we did. I applied for that and not having a clue what it was, and I basically met all these people who were doing good in the world and who knew that you didn't have to sacrifice doing good for money, that you could do good and also make a living. And this was the first time I was hearing that, and it was like, oh my God, mind-blowing. And I was meeting all these people who again, just were not embarrassed, didn't care what other people thought. They were just doing their lives, talking about really cool, interesting things, and just being unique and going against the grain, and not just, being like everybody else. And I was like, wow. And this was the first time that I had a thought of doing something different. And I actually did a gender equality workshop at the summit, and that was the first time in my life where I was like, oh my God, I love talking about this. I love teaching people this. This is amazing. I want this feeling forever. And again, I don't think those people know, again, how formative that experience was for me, and why it's literally the reason why I'm here talking to you today. So yeah, that was amazing. That really was the start of this whole journey. And at the same time, I was now in my master's, my law and economics master's that I hated. I was doing an internship, kind of a corporate law internship at the same time. So at the same time, the internship, the master's, and this Impact Gamer Summit were all happening. And I was just like, no, this corporate law world is not for me. But having said that, if I hadn't gone and done that, I maybe wouldn't have known that it wasn't for me. Like, I have no regrets as such, because I'm just like, well, at least I tried it. I had the experience, and I could say 100% that life was not for me. So that kind of then solidified that I was like, okay, I want to do something gender, feminist, something with this. Like, what can I do? So then it wasn't just all plain sailing. So this was October 2016 that I first had the thought to do something. And I didn't first upload a video until February 2019. It was literally, what's that, 2.5 years before I got the nerve. So again, try and maybe learn from my mistakes. Maybe you could do it earlier. But if it's also taking you a while, that's also totally fine. But yeah, it took me a really long time to, once I even decided what I wanted to do, it took me still so long to get to a place where I was actually doing it. And so then I first uploaded, as I said, in February 2019, spent a year on Facebook, was only uploading to Facebook. And then after that year, finally decided that I should move over to YouTube, and I actually will link a video below explaining my reasons to move over briefly. But yeah, that was kind of on my mind the whole year. I was like, oh, Facebook or YouTube, Facebook or YouTube. And I eventually decided to go to YouTube. So again, that's why I'm here. And then a bit about my interests. So for me, I'm just a giant feminist in general. Anything to do with women, any feminist issue, I am automatically interested in. But again, you can go so much more niche into that. So for me, my biggest interest, and the ones I find myself most talking about, most experiencing, are the issues of everyday sexism, casual sexism, street harassment, microaggressions, the little things that happen every single day that chip away at your feeling of comfortableness in this world and your experience as a woman. And that's just what I am mostly drawn to. Having said that, sometimes I do feel like I don't engage with the kind of more high level stuff, whatever that means, because maybe I don't feel smart enough or whatever. But I also just have to go with what I'm drawn to and what I know about. I'm not going to talk about something that I don't know that much about, and what I do know is what I experience, which is things like street harassment and everyday sexism. So that's what I talk about. It's what I'm interested in, and I always think, well, I'll leave the bigger things to the smarter people who know more about it. So that's kind of, I guess, what my vibe is. And then just to talk about, I guess, my current life. So as I said, I live in Belgium right now. I am a consultant, basically working with NGOs, nonprofits, basically kind of a social impact consultant. And I just kind of do all different things with all these different organizations. And it's a really cool job. And I love that, my work are fully aware that I, make videos and I write. And that's one of the reasons I was hired. They love that I'm so involved in all this stuff. And that's really, really nice. And so they kind of complement each other really, really well. And so I'm really kind of happy with the nice balance I have at the moment and the life I've kind of created for myself. And so now, what are my plans for the future? So I guess my main priority is this channel. I want to focus on growing it. I love talking, so I want to do more of that, whether at events or different things. I would love to obviously make money from this channel eventually and really build it up. So that's kind of really where my focus is. And I guess this is me kind of putting that energy out there into the world, and hopefully manifesting that dream someday. And basically I just love talking about this stuff, and I love teaching people, and I love people learning, and I love having discussions with people where it's, you know, good and constructive and, you know, just making the world a better place without sounding violently cheesy, but that is just what I love to do. So I hope to just do more of that as time goes on. So that is a bit about me. I hope you got to know a bit more about me and you feel like you have a bit of background when you're kind of going through my different videos. So thank you so much for watching. If there's anything else you'd like to know about me, no matter what it is, who knows what you might ask, but please do comment down below and I'll answer it if I can. Please subscribe to my channel and watch some of my videos and comment and like and all those things. And yeah, hopefully I will see you somewhere on my channel. Bye!